Yeah. So the archival was a huge job. There's just a lot of it in the movie, and tons and tons that isn't in the movie. Our One of our main sources was a character in the film, Tim Lewis, who's the guy who lives in the cabin and is wearing the cap, and he was at a lot of the main events, and he had a personal stash of footage that he had shot over the years, and he also was somebody that people in the environmental movement knew of, and so if somebody shot a protest or something like that, a lot of times they would give him the tapes, and he kind of became, in addition to having shot a lot himself, he was a repository for other people's material. And so we went out there and we looked through a lot of his footage. He shot the footage of the people, the protests up in the trees. He shot that footage of Jake Ferguson playing guitar in the house. He shot the footage. He was at the WTO and shot some of the footage from that. He was one of the first people on site at the first ELF arson, and he shot footage of this, smoldering remains of a Forest Service office, and so he was just kind of everywhere. So that was where we got a lot of his stuff, and in addition, we also did a lot of research, talking to news stations, national news stations, but also local news stations, and we. Steve Loring and Bill Gallagher were kind of driving this, but there were a number of other folks involved as well. And they would call the fire chief in towns where there'd been arsons and say, by any chance, do you know anybody who might have footage of this thing? And just tons of crazy phone calls and cold calls, and turned out, yeah, one of the fire chiefs had taken a camera with him and had 20 photographs of Superior lumber and flames that are just unbelievable shots, and so just shoe leather. I mean, hours and hours and hours on the phone is the short answer.